Before dawn on February 22, 2026, the Mexican military surrounded a secluded wooden cabin in the mountains of Tapalpa. Inside was the most wanted drug lord on the planet, El Mencho. Following a massive, chaotic firefight, soldiers finally captured him. He was airlifted out but succumbed to his injuries on the way to the capital. The head of the snake was cut off. The USDEA initially called it a major breakthrough, but the victory was short-lived. Instead of collapsing, his cartel, the CJNG, immediately launched a coordinated wave of narco-terrorist attacks across 20 different Mexican states. The retaliation was terrifyingly precise. El Mencho's right-hand man ordered a $100 bounty, about 2,000 pesos, placed on the head of every individual Mexican soldier. Major hubs like Guadalajara instantly became ghost towns. With flights canceled, schools locked down, and over 250 burning roadblocks paralyzing the highways, the country was dragged into a level of statewide warfare unseen since 1980s Colombia. Killing a cartel leader doesn't end the violence, it accelerates it. Governments keep fighting these groups as if they are traditional street gangs, ignoring the deeply entrenched system that sustains them. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, El Mencho, began his life as a poor avocado farmer. He moved to California chasing a better life, but ended up in prison for selling heroin. In 1997, the U.S. deported him back to Mexico. Upon his return, he successfully applied to join the local police force. From inside the police department, he learned exactly how the state functioned. For 71 years, Mexico's ruling political party, the PRI, operated what was called the plaza system. They didn't try to eradicate organized crime. They managed it, and they profited from it. The mechanics were brutal and simple. Keep the public violence to a minimum, and cartels could buy off local mayors and officials with briefcases full of cash. It was an ultimatum known as plata o plomo, take the silver or take the lead. El Mencho learned that state-sponsored corruption was the ultimate business tool. He used his knowledge of the system's vulnerabilities to transform a small splinter gang into the CJNG, an empire insulated by the very people sworn to stop it. Looking at this supply chain diagram, you can trace his most lethal pivot. The CJNG abandoned traditional crop-based narcotics like cocaine and heroin. Instead, they scaled up the production of synthetic drugs like meth and fentanyl. Synthetics removed the need to rely on vast South American agricultural fields or weather conditions. By importing raw chemical precursors straight from China, the cartel brought the entire manufacturing process in-house. This massive international operation bottlenecked at a single location, the port of Manzanillo. By seizing effective control of this exact port, the CJNG secured an uninterrupted flow of incoming Chinese chemicals. The economics of fentanyl, a synthetic opioid 50 times stronger than heroin, are terrifying. A single pill costs mere cents to manufacture, yet it sells on American streets for up to $30. A single batch of imported chemicals cost the cartel around $500. Once processed and sold, that same batch yields $20 million in pure profit. The CJNG is no longer a street gang. It operates with a mathematically bulletproof business model, functioning like a hyper-efficient multinational chemical corporation. By 2015, this corporate enterprise was heavily militarized. When the Mexican military launched an operation to capture El Mencho, the cartel shot down a military helicopter using rocket-propelled grenades. To understand how a drug cartel acquired military-grade weaponry, you have to look north. 70% of the firearms recovered in Mexico originate from the United States, flowing freely through thousands of gun dealers lining the border. This complicity is deeply historical. In the 1980s, the CIA allowed Nicaraguan Contra rebels to train on the private ranches of Mexican drug lords, effectively cross-pollinating organized crime with paramilitary tactics. Then, the 1994 NAFTA agreement opened the borders for free trade. It simultaneously created a massive logistical blind spot. Truck traffic surged so dramatically that border agents found it physically impossible to inspect even a fraction of the cargo, opening a superhighway for smugglers. NAFTA also allowed America to flood the Mexican market with cheap, subsidized corn. Prices crashed, and nearly 2 million Mexican farmers went bankrupt. Desperate for work, they became an endless, ready-made labor pool for the cartels. The United States armed the region, trained early militias, and economically destabilized the local workforce. These specific actions provided the foundation that allowed the CJNNG to rise. El Mencho is dead, but his machine continues to run. With the CEO gone, the remaining cartel commanders have sparked a succession war, fighting each other for control of the supply lines. The American response continues to escalate. The U.S. government has declared cartels foreign terrorist organizations, and the military has begun dropping bombs on suspected drug vessels in international waters without a trial or evidence. This places immense pressure on Mexico's newly elected president, Claudia Sheinbaum. She faces the nearly impossible task of proving her country can dismantle these billion-dollar syndicates from the inside without relying on American military intervention. As long as American demand for synthetics exists, as long as U.S. weapons pour south, and as long as local officials require a cartel paycheck to survive, the Hydra will regrow its heads faster than they can be cut off. In June 2026, the FIFA World Cup will arrive in these same Mexican cities, currently engulfed in narco war. This is a shared global crisis. If the root causes, the demand, the guns, and the corruption remain untouched, the violence will simply continue under a different name.